What's going on, guys? Thanks for stopping by the channel today and checking out today's gear review of the Lone Wolf Custom Gear Pocket Arm. Now, we're just going to get straight into it. I'm going to be straight up front and honest with you that I have not owned this pocket arm for longer than about 2 months. But I think that's really going to be the key to this whole video. That's the whole point I'm making it. Some things have changed, I believe, and I want you guys' feedback, and you will see what I mean by the end of this video. So I'll purchase this pocket arm after looking across the spectrum of camera arms. A lot of high-dollar camera arms, some cheaper versions out there. I've had some different versions in the past. This particular version was going to be key to lightening up my pack, which it will do that. Being more compact, it does that. Another thing that accomplishes is it is a one-set system. There's no additional bracket or cam strap, no ratchet strap, everything like that. It solves all those problems. But when I received mine, I realized that I had one big issue and actually reached out to Lone Wolf and had some discussions with them, talked to those guys, bounced some questions. They brought me some feedback, and I'm going to share that with you in a minute. But first, we're going to cover all the basics. You've probably seen this before, but we're just going to cover some of those specific details about the camera arm. It's about 1.6 pounds, including the buckle strap. The 3 adjustable arms are about 3 inches across, and the whole base is about 6 inches high. So the whole profile is about 6 inches by 3 inches, and it is about 12 inches from nose to nose. So this thing is rated for a 10-pound camera. You've probably seen the videos. Everybody's mentioned it a bunch of times where the DeCustos are in the dungeon and the weight room and they're hanging weights off the end of it, which is all well and good. Bounce has also been a little bit of a complaint over time. I don't think a lot of us are using those heavy-duty DSLRs and things like that, but bounce up and down has been an issue, but you can tighten some of these adjustable brackets to help kind of solve that issue. The rubber knob tightening pin is a great feature, silent, easy on the fingers when it's nice and cold. Really takes a good grab. And I think a lot of people are surprised at how well this thing attaches to the tree once you get it set. Now, getting it set, it does tend to want to buckle a little bit right and left. That initial flex joint hinge, when you're trying to push it, you can push too much pressure and you can kind of overdo it and it'll kind of cam over on you for a second and you got to reset it. That's kind of an issue that everybody's been talking about, but really somewhat minor. Now, this is a costly camera arm. This thing runs about 250 bucks, and I'll give you a quick tip. It's actually on sale right now for about $225. Now, the best way to set this arm is to tighten the strap as tight as it'll go with no slack. You grab the top of the arm, you kind of pull back on it. You keep that set screw nice and extended instead of inserted to give you plenty of room, and you pull down on that bracket, and then you start to set your set screw. Now, it does have the bubble level on top, which does help. It does set surprisingly well. You do have the backpack hook that comes under the main bracket that you can, I probably won't hang my backpack on that, but I could utilize that probably for a quiver or other additional accessories. Another hook is never a bad idea, right? But to get to the point of my video today, I had one major issue with this that was almost a deal breaker for me. But basically, there's no turning back now. I talked this over with Lone Wolf Custom Gear and actually got some feedback from Andre directly. And I wanted to share that with you guys. And it is the fact that on my model that I bought, at the end of the camera arm right here, it comes with a single Allen wrench set screw that attaches to your fluid head, your ball head, whatever that may be. So one thing that I noticed right off the bat was that the end of this camera arm, this is not a threaded receiver, this is drilled out. So this screw, there's nothing to hold this screw in. I found that to be a major issue, and I did not realize that at first. So I wrote Lone Wolf Custom Gear and I asked them about what this feature and how come mine didn't have threaded inserts and how was I supposed to keep it attached. And what I wanted to do is read you guys the feedback that I got directly. If you just bear with me for just a second, I'm going to pull up this email, and I apologize for reading. I don't like when people read to me. But for the purpose of the video, I got to share with you the information. This is from Andre. He said that most guys leave their head on and only take the camera on and off. But if you're going to remove your head all the time, you need to get some sort of fastener to hold the screw in place. We have not come across this. So we'll be looking for a way to improve this feature and have it do what you're doing with less hassle. We apologize for the inconvenience at this time. So my response was, thank you for your response. I can understand that. However, I think most store a camera arm on the external part of their pack. Most packs are designed for an external spot for them, but I would think most store it externally with a fluid head still attached in case, but if it caught on something, it gets sand or mud in the components, get rained on or fall out since it'd be too heavy with a head on it. So it's just a perspective, especially since a lot of heads you can't remove the handle without moving several parts, which makes it even bulkier to leave attached. Maybe some of this feedback will help, but if not, that's okay too. Thank you for everything that you guys do. The response to that was, so actually we have a piece that is tapped instead of drilled. This is how they used to be until we switched to having them threaded. We may be switching back to the tapped piece to resolve issues like this. After speaking with Andre, he let me know that we can go ahead and send you one of those tapped pieces that we have. He doesn't know if it'll fit, match exactly, but it's worth giving it a try. If this is something you'd be interested in, if so, let us know. So I responded, I said, actually, that would be great. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'm sure you have my order history. So with that said, the piece that I received was this additional camera arm piece right here. But there was one problem. This piece also is totally drilled out. And it also, this end is made to, as for the attachment mount, and this bolt over here, this drill tap over here is not big enough. But the whole point is there's no threads to this piece. So I was kind of confused. So I reached back out to Lone Wolf Custom Gear to clarify, make sure there was no confusion and things like that. So this is my response to them. I said I received the additional tapped arm piece. However, the piece that arrived is also drilled as the original. I went back to our messages because I wanted to make sure I did not create some confusion. You guys have done a lot to help, and I just wanted to make you aware. I added some photos so that you can verify. One photo is a custom bolt attachment that I found previous to my camera arms that I've owned. You'll notice a new piece, a solid color. Mine's painted already. So after that, the response I got is, thank you much for sharing. We sincerely apologize for the inconvenience. I just showed your images to Andre, and I told him, don't worry about sending in any additional pieces. I appreciate everything that they've done so far. So my main issue becomes that this screw does not stay in place. You have to remove it anytime you remove your fluid head. Now, my fluid head is a little bit bulky. I'm not upgrading this year. It's a King Joy. It's not too big. It's an average size, middle of the road, but you can see there's the 3/8 bolt that connects to it right here, inserts right here in the bottom of the camera arm. But I don't want to leave my fluid head attached 24/7 because it becomes not a pocket arm anymore. It's extremely bulky, it's awkward to carry, it's exposed to the elements, something could catch it, pull it out, and then now I don't know where I'm going to store it. It kind of defeated the whole purpose of why I bought the camera arm anyway. So what I did is I dug through some of my old camera parts and I found this additional piece that I can use, and I had to go get a custom bolt because this is, now I need a longer bolt to fix this to the end of my camera arm so I can leave this mounted all the time. And now I can take my fluid head on and off instead of leaving it on, which makes it infinitely more bulky, just like this as a whole piece. So now with this piece inserted and fixed in place by this disc, I can now take my camera arm and I can unmount it, which is what I like to do, and I can put it away in my pack, and then my camera arm stores away just like I want it to. And I don't have to leave this attached, because if I do, then it becomes a whole different issue. So that becomes my main concern. I want to know really how many of you out there leave your fluid hood attached to your camera arm. I think it depends on how big it is. A lot of us are maybe in the middle of the road. We have maybe a smaller profile. Some guys, there are some cheaper versions, ball head versions that are real small and light that you could leave attached. But with the handles attached and a bigger fluid head, I just don't see how you're really sticking with that bulkier system. So it seems like to me that they may go back to the tapped version just for that reason, because without that tap, there's no way that you want to climb up in the tree, have to set this screw, set your fluid head, set your camera, because I guarantee you're going to drop that screw. There's no two ways about it. You cannot be doing that. That is not efficiency in any way. You're asking for trouble. No matter what you do, that screw, unless you leave your fluid head mounted 24/7, which I don't. It's not practical for storage in my pack. I'll show you an example of how I haul my camera arm and my pack and everything like that. The whole point was to shed that weight, lighter, more accessible, and to still be able to store it efficiently as I can. So ultimately, I would like some feedback from some of you guys who have already purchased this camera arm probably last year. And I know there's some tapped version out there, but this version that I'm getting now is totally drilled, and you have no set screw tap to hold it in place. You've got to come up with some kind of keeper, or I was just fortunate to have this additional piece which adds ounces to my gear, which I really wasn't looking to do. So I was pretty disappointed in it, at least in that fact, but I'm still excited about using the camera arm. I still believe it checks a lot of the boxes, you know, and a lot of guys have mentioned shaving down the button and the edges, which is something that you're going to have to do. I have already done that on mine. I took that advice from somebody else as well, just as a safeguard. Don't want to be taking any chances with that, with your several hundred or even $1,000 camera dangling off the edge of the tree, and you're trying to pull this thing tight, and all of a sudden, and that thing is gone. You can't afford that either. So I'd like to hear you guys' feedback on what you think about this, and if you guys are purchasing this recently, are you getting the same version as me? Because I haven't seen anybody kind of reference this issue. Maybe it's just an issue with me. Maybe you're saying, hey Seth, you need to upgrade your fluid head, and you know, you could be right, but that's just not in my production budget this year. That's not something I'm looking to upgrade. I'm happy with this one. I'm going to stick with it, and it's going to work. I like the attachment, the setup that I've got. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Yeah, I'm sweating out here in the shop because the AC is out, so I apologize if I'm just glistening like a mirrored reflection on the water. But thanks for checking out the video. Leave any comments and feedback down below. And I will say that Lone Wolf Custom Gear were excellent in their responses and trying to address what my main concern was in providing feedback and their perspective and why they have switched back and forth based on their feedback. I think they're really good at customer relationship management and creating those feedback loops, and they try to improve their products based on that. You know, this one, it just has a few little quirks about it, and I'm not sure about this final result yet, but we're going to roll with it. Thanks for checking out the video, guys. If you made it this far, just consider subscribing, coming back, visiting us, checking it out, leave a comment, reach out, touch base. I appreciate all the support. It's been awesome. It really makes me want to improve and work to bring you guys the best content that I can as a one-man operation. So what you see is what you get. All right, guys, have a good weekend. God bless. We'll see you on the next video.
Oh, so long for now. I'm grown so tired this time, so I'll take a bow and sink in the cold.